Bullet Train was directed by David Leitch and stars Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Brian Tyree Henry, and I'm very excited to give you guys my review for this movie. If you've seen it, be sure to leave a comment of what you thought about it. As well, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now let's get into this review. In this movie, 5 assassins aboard a bullet train find out that their missions have something in common. So I've been curious about this movie and I've been wanting to check it out for a while, and I finally was able to, and to me it looked like it was going to be a fun action comedy, and after watching I can say I enjoyed it for the most part. I have a few issues with it and I'll get to those in a bit, but I'm going to start with the positives. And for me, I did find it to be mostly a fun action comedy movie. For me, a lot of the comedy did land. I thought it was quite funny at times. The bits of action they have I thought was pretty good as well. I enjoyed the scenarios that were going on of these 5 different assassins on this train having different missions, but they're all sort of connected in a way, and part of that connection is a briefcase that's a major part of this movie, and they're all after it, and I thought they did some fun stuff with that as well. For me, easily the standout of this movie was Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry, especially when those two were working together. I thought they're hilarious. I enjoyed their dynamics and chemistry together. It was great. I could have almost just watched a movie of these two interacting with each other. I thought it was great. They're definitely the standout for me, and they have some very funny scenes, again, with some of the briefcase stuff when they originally goes missing, because at first they have it. There's some good stuff there, and I just had a great time watching those two characters. Brad Pitt's sort of the main character of this movie, and he's very good as well. He has some funny moments and some really fun scenes. He was great. I think the whole cast gave a good performance. There were some characters and storylines that just weren't quite as interesting as other ones. The storyline with the character called The Prince, played by Joey King, for me, I think that was one of the weaker storylines in this movie. It wasn't bad, and like, she was getting a very good performance, just I think because I was really enjoying the stuff with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry and Brad Pitt, that whenever it cut to that part of the movie, it just sort of like, oh yeah, we're back at this, I kind of want to watch the other stuff. So there was stuff like that. Some of the storylines were just more entertaining than others, but none of them I thought were bad. I thought they all had their moments. They all had some fun parts too, and they do some really fun stuff with Brad Pitt's character, because he's an assassin who's at a point of his life where he doesn't really want to use guns and really kill people, and he ends up killing people by accident in this. There's some really fun stuff in this movie with his character that I quite enjoyed. Good laughs for sure. He had some funny action scenes as well. So yeah, for me, most of this movie was a lot of fun. It was just sort of like a mindless action comedy, which I enjoyed. You need that from time to time, in my opinion. Had fun with it, but I have some issues with it. I've already mentioned some of the plot lines just weren't as interesting as others, but my bigger issue is I think this movie was about 20 to 30 minutes too long for me. It just got to the point where some of the comedy that they're doing, some of the shtick, if you would, just started to run dry for me. It just started like, okay, things sort of played out already. It was the comedy. There are some moments that are still fun in the last 30 minutes, but it just wasn't working as well, because like, okay, yeah, we've done this a lot now. And also in the final 30 minutes or so, it starts taking place in the daytime, whereas the rest of the movie was at night, and that nighttime setting helped hide some of the CGI, I felt, and when it was in the daytime it was a lot more noticeable, and it wasn't very good. Especially at the climax, it gets really over the top with the action, a bit too over the top for my liking for this movie, and the CGI just wasn't great, and it was really distracting at times. And yeah, it just, I think it played on for a bit too long, whereas the final, again, 20-30 minutes was like, okay, not as interested as I was before. Before, it was really fun with the dynamics. I think part of it too, thinking on it, is not all the characters are still around in that final 20 to 30 minutes, so you don't have the same dynamics. So I think that's didn't help the final bit of this movie either for me, because those dynamics I was really invested in, and that was what was making me enjoy this movie so much, just wasn't there in that last portion. So I was like, okay, it's fine. They have some cool fight scenes at the end, but yeah, it kind of dropped this movie down a little bit for me, that weak ending. And there's some stuff where it's like, yeah, I think they went on with it too much. Like, one of the things I had with Brad Pitt's character was that he's sort of lucky or unlucky in a way, depending how you look at things. And they do some fun stuff with that, but at the end it just comes a little eye-rolling at times, and you also are not like concerned about his character at all because of what they're doing and how they have that luck thing with him. So yeah, I think that's my biggest issue with the movie. But up until that point, it was fun. It was just a fun, mindless action comedy. I loved some of the dynamics with the characters. Some of the other storylines weren't as strong, but again, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, love those two. Really enjoyed Brad Pitt as well. And when all those characters were interacting with each other, it was great. So the first 2 acts of the movie I had fun with. Final 30 minutes or so, kind of weak, but I still overall enjoyed this movie quite a bit. For me, I'm gonna give Bullet Train a 72%. So those are my thoughts on this movie. Again, if you guys have seen this movie, let me know what you thought about it. As well, be sure to stay tuned for some more reviews coming soon, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And until my next video, take care everybody.